Welcome to this edition of Coaching in COVID with the head coach, Portia Dobson, of the men's and women's track and field programs who competed this spring in 2020. Portia, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, of course. I'm excited to be here. So competing is a good word.
I was going to say, let's start with that. You benefited from, I guess, good scheduling and just the ability to really kind of get everything going that maybe some other sports didn't necessarily have the luxury of. So let's talk about that. What was it like this year, not really knowing, and then all of a sudden you're able to compete and making it all work?
Yeah, I guess the unknown is pretty difficult. Not even so much for the coaches, but more so for the student athletes. And kudos to them for really just being able to latch on, engage, and just really listen to us, encouraging them throughout the entire, training period. Because it's tough, you're out there training, and even for a non-athlete, if you're working out and stuff, you want to set a goal. What am I doing this for? And for them, it was, why are we here? Is it now? It's just for the love of the sport. It's our passion. We're here to be together with our teammates and spend this time, and just to have a bit of normalcy for a college experience, right? But we manage as a staff. We're pretty creative, in my opinion, to come together and make sure that we had some inter squad type competitions, testing, and just to really maintain and give them something to shoot for. And we always said, in the case we have a season, and then we indeed did have a season. Three meets, but that was definitely a season for us. And to their credit, the athletes who were at home or were remote, they stayed true to the training. They are very disciplined. They trained on their own. They communicated with us. And once they arrived on campus, they were ready to hit the ground running. And we benefited from that. And it was definitely showed from all of the performances.
You talked about that with having three meets. You had UNH, you had a home meet, and you had the IC4A, BCACs down at AIC, which a lot of other teams, women's lacrosse, I can think of, they would schedule, and then it would kind of be, okay, and they finished with maybe 1-2 dates of competition. If you factor in sending Tim Zeff down to the East Regionals, you guys, I felt like it was a normal track season from the start of competition through the end of regionals. It, to me, felt like a normal season. What's that like?
Yeah, we were very fortunate to have that. I think the track community is so understanding and was actually very excited for us when they realized that we were able to actually compete. So when we asked permission to enter into the UNH meet, and that had to get confirmed by, their athletic director and their president and so on and so forth. So we had to wait on that to even see if we could compete there. And then we, as coaches, we looked through the calendar, and there were no other competitions in the area because everyone would be competing at their conference championships during the free weekend and where we had an opportunity to compete. So we were very fortunate to be able to host a home meet that weekend. So that's how we managed those two meets. And from there, we went on to ECAC IC4A. So eventually it did turn into a season that felt like a traditional track and field season. We even had an inter squad meet where we had electronic timing, to make it real. We had people in uniforms in green and white to really get those competitive juices going. So for us, it was truly a traditional season. Especially when we were able to go to regionals. I think that's what was the icing on the cake. that was made it real. So,
not only did it feel like a regular season in terms of the number of meets you were competing at, but also considering all the circumstances that you were talking about before, you got a lot of solid, really good performances from your individual kids during those competitions.
Yeah, we did. We had quite a number of personal bests throughout the team, both men and women across the board and across event groups as well. And as far as the record books, we had about 4 athletes who were able to post some top 10 all-time marks in the record books, including number 2 all-time marks as well. I think about 3 people posted those. So yes, I guess again that's a testament to the discipline, the hard work of our athletes. But to be able to do that in such a short period of time really kind of gives us a bit of insight into the future of what we can really develop and look forward to from the team when we have an entire year to actually train and compete.
Shifting focus from the team to more of an individual, looking at you came in September, so a little bit later, and then you hired a new men's distance cross country coach in Justin Wood. So you and Justin are kind of new, coming over, taking over events in these groups, making the move from previous destinations to wherever you are to up here now. What was this year like for you in the sense of, on a personal level, like you get thrown in, you're a first-time head coach or director of a program in this instance, and all of this is happening in addition to it being a new spot for you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I started October 1st, as you said. Justin started officially, I believe, in November or December. And for us being the new coaches coming in, we, in a sense, we knew what to expect because we just wanted to get started. We just wanted to get right to business. And I know both Justin and I we're very competitive people, and we just wanted to make an impact, an immediate impact. Traveling up here and doing all that, he did a great job in managing it. Actually, his wife is still in California and he's here, and they're making that happen. She'll be here in August. And I try to do as much as I could virtually and really try and connect with the student athletes. In my opinion, when we were approved to begin some of that in-person practice in late January, that's when everything changed. That's when it became a reality. And I was really able to establish relationships with the team across the board. And they provided positive feedback as well. They said it too. They're like, it's one thing to talk to you over the computer and the phone, but really having that access to you just really kind of changed the whole environment and the atmosphere here. So that was great to hear and very pleased. But we kind of just took all of that and channeled it into, the practices and the team, and really just shared our ideas with the coaches who were already here, which I call the veterans all the time. The three of them, I call them the veterans, and they're very open and they're excited about this process. And again, as you already touched on, the success that we've had in such a short period of time just really enhance that excitement and that eagerness to really make it happen in the future.
So 2021 craziness is over. You've got a full staff. You have a season behind you. It's now the summer. We're into June. We're turning the page. Is it now a normal year for you? It's the recruiting. You've done a little bit of that. Now we've got to get back into it. You're able to go out on the road. Is this now the normal aspect of your job right now?
Yes, it is. It does. It's definitely normal now. June 1st, we just started with unofficial visits and recruiting in person and scheduling home visits and all that. So thankfully, we did a lot of the recruiting behind the scenes virtually, but now it's go time. This is real. So it's almost year one for us. So you really get to see what we're about and what we can do, but this is what it feels like. Although it will continue to be busy, it's definitely a good busy for us. So.
Yes. Well, we wish you luck in year one. We'll say 1.1 moving forward as we've got cross country coming up, and then indoor and outdoor. We'll be right back at it next year. So Portia Dobson, the head coach of the Dartmouth men's and women's track and field programs, we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.